The Right Side with Doug Billings.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to The Right Side. Folks, there's a brand new program out there that could actually turn millions of young Americans into millionaires, and most people still don't even know about it. I'm serious. It's out there, and it's real. These are called Trump accounts, tax advantage investment accounts created for kids. Any child under the age of 18 can have one, but here's the game changer. Children born between 2025 and 2028, which is the remaining time of President Trump's second term, are eligible to receive a $1,000 seed contribution from the government. Parents can then add to the account, and the money gets invested in American companies. And over time, that initial $1,000 has the potential to grow into hundreds of thousands of dollars or even $1 million by the time these kids reach their late 20s or early 30s. This isn't just another government program. This is real ownership. And this is a game changer. Folks, this is a reason that history will look back on this moment, and Trump accounts will become a Mount-Rushmore-qualifying event for President Trump. Ladies and gentlemen, the right side is now upon you. Are you ready? Let's go.
The Right Side with Doug Billings.
We are not liberal snowflakes who melt away in the face of tragedy, adversity, and challenge. We are a covenant nation under God, and his divine providence is not dead and it's not gone. It is living within each and every one of you. And you will bring it to life in such a way that the world has never seen before. We never back down. We never give up. We march forward.
All right, ladies and gentlemen. Yes, so I'm not kidding. Mount Rushmore qualifying event. They're going to look back, historians and the people of this country, and they're going to say no other president has done so much for so many millions of people. Millions of millionaires created from Trump accounts. And instead of telling the next generation of kids to wait around for, a broken Social Security system to take care of them someday, these accounts give young people an actual stake in the American economy from day one of their life. They get skin in the game. They benefit when America succeeds. And here's what really matters. This shifts young Americans from a mindset of dependency to a mindset of ownership. That's the kind of change that can reshape an entire generation or two or three. Absolutely right, ladies and gentlemen. That's the case. And I want to walk you through it. It really has the potential to fundamentally change the financial future of millions of young Americans. Evidence of the obvious is sufficient. Most people still haven't heard much about this yet. Trump accounts. And I think it's going to be one of the most important and practical ideas to come out of Washington in maybe forever, certainly in a long time. The nuts and bolts of all of this, Trump accounts, tax advantage investment accounts designed specifically for children. All right. Any child under the age of 18 can have one. The Trump term 2025 to 2028, I told you the $1,000 seed money. Families can contribute. They can contribute additional money to the account, and that money also is invested in American companies. The account stays in the child's name, and they get full access when they turn 18 years old. Now, when you look at the long-term numbers, this becomes very interesting because assuming a reasonable historical market return, that initial $1,000 seed money has the potential to turn into hundreds of thousands of dollars, if not millions of dollars, before the kid turns 30. So if families contribute regularly, this could be real money. Well over $1 million at the age of 28, 29, or 30. Can you imagine? That's why I've started calling these things millionaire makers. This isn't some kind of a vague promise. It's not political talking points. This is a concrete mechanism that gives young Americans real ownership in the success of America and of the American economy from a very early age. And I think it matters more than what most people realize. Think about this. Right now, we've got a generation of young people out there who've been told for years the system is rigged against them. And they've been encouraged to believe that their best hope for financial security is to believe that the government programs are going to save them, that redistribution is going to save them. Yeah. And at the same time, we all know that Social Security, at least as we know it, is heading towards real serious trouble and insolvency. The math just doesn't work for the long term with Social Security. So the worker to retiree ratio has shifted big time in this country, and the system, it's on an unsustainable path. So what we have been offering young Americans isn't much, mostly the same old, conversation. We talk about raising taxes, cut benefits later, or just hope that the government figures it out. Trump accounts offer something completely different. They give young people a direct path to build real personal wealth that doesn't depend on Washington. Doesn't depend on Washington for a number of things, keeping promises that it may not be able to keep for decades. Instead of dependency, they create ownership. Trump accounts. Instead of, waiting for a check from a strained system, young people can grow equity in the actual American economy, the number one most strengthful and most strong economy in the world. Now, what makes this even more powerful is that the private sector is already stepping up. Major business leaders have pledged billions of dollars to help fund these accounts for millions of children. Mike and Susan Dell, they're from Dell Computers, in case you're from Raytown, Missouri. They've funded the program with $6 billion. And there's lots of other investors as well, because when serious people with real capital are putting their own money behind an idea, that tells you that they see long-term value in it. They're betting on young Americans having a stake in this country's success. Now, what a difference that attitude makes, because they certainly don't get this attitude from the Communist Socialist, formerly known as Democrat Party. And here's where it gets even more important. This isn't just about money. This is about a mindset. For too long, the dominant message that's been aimed at Gen Z and millennials has been one of grievance and dependency. They've been told that their problems are permanent, that the deck is stacked, that the only real solution comes from bigger government. Well, that message doesn't build strong, capable adults, ladies and gentlemen. It builds people who wait to be rescued. The radical liberal movement in America, the Democrat Party, now known as the Communist Socialist Party, the party of slavery, they've created a modern-day version of slavery. It's called government dependency. Your dependency to government are the shackles of slavery. They just can't let slavery go. Trump accounts push in the exact opposite direction. When a young person has an account that grows as the American economy grows, their interests begin to align with strength, innovation, and responsible policy. They have skin in the game. They've got a reason to care about policies that actually create wealth instead of just redistributing it. And that shift from dependency to ownership is one of the most important cultural changes that we could make for the next generation. And you'd better believe the Communist Socialist, formerly known as Democrat Party, wants nothing to do with that. Their trend towards Communist Socialism depends on dependency. And it also, all of this also connects to something deeper about who we are as a country, in my opinion. America has always been at its best when it's encouraged people to build and to create and to take responsibility for their own futures. Think about the generations that came before us, the ones who started with very little, if nothing at all, and built businesses, families, communities. People who had nothing at all did all of that through hard work and ingenuity. It was that builder spirit that made this country exceptional. Trump accounts are a modern tool that points young people back towards that same tradition. And of course, not everybody is even excited about this idea. And you can name, of course, or guess who that group of people are. Some of the opposition isn't based on serious concerns about the details or the long-term fiscal impact, because they know those things are there. That's what frightens them. The resistance is coming from the same place a lot of opposition has come from for years. Blind resistance to anything associated with President Trump. That's it. And that kind of knee-jerk reaction prevents people from honestly evaluating whether a policy actually helps young Americans. It's all a form of intellectual immaturity. And it's unfortunate because the people who lose out the most are the very young people that these critics in the Commune Socialist, formerly known as Democrat Party, claim to care about. Folks, the truth is that giving young Americans real ownership in this country's success is one of the best ways to help them. It's one of the best things that we can do for the long-term health of the republic itself. When people have a stake in something, they tend to take better care of it. And when they see their own money growing through American companies and American innovation, they develop a different relationship with their country. They really do. They stop seeing America as something that owes them, and they start seeing it as something that they're part of building. That's the bigger picture here. Trump accounts, they're about more than just creating millionaires, really, at the end of the day, although that would be a pretty good outcome. They're about shifting an entire generation from a mindset of waiting to a mindset of building. And I think they're about giving young people something real instead of more empty promises. And they're about strengthening the American experiment by tying more people directly to its success. We've spent years watching institutions and cultural forces push young Americans towards dependency and resentment. Now we have a practical tool that does the opposite. It rewards responsibility. It creates ownership. It aligns personal success with national success. And it does all of this without requiring young people to wait for a government that's already struggling to keep its current promises. This is the kind of idea that can have effects lasting for decades. The young couple who grow, who grow up with these accounts, they're not going to just have more money. They're going to have a different perspective. They'll understand that wealth is built and not distributed. And they're going to see that America still offers real opportunity when you have skin in the game. And I think over time, that understanding is going to reshape how an entire generation or two or three thinks about responsibility, about freedom, and what it means to be an American. This is worth paying attention to. This is huge. And it's not because it's flashy, but because it's practical. Not because it promises to fix everything, but because it gives millions of young people a real tool to build something for themselves. And so in a time when so much of the conversation around young Americans is negative and focused on what's wrong, Trump accounts offer something positive and something forward-looking. They represent a bet on the next generation, not a bet that government will save them, but a bet that if we give them ownership and opportunity, they're going to rise to the occasion. And that's a bet I think's worth making, ladies and gentlemen. Think about all of this, a Mount-Rushmore-qualifying event for a president who will create more millionaires in this country than anyone before him in that office. A pack of blessings is upon us. Until next time, ladies and gentlemen, God bless you. God bless your families. God bless the United States of America. Please like, subscribe, follow, and share this. Let's get the word out. Let's light the algorithm up. And please prayerfully consider heading over to dougbillings.us to contribute to the show over there. Doesn't take much to contribute. Set up a $5 a month recurring contribution to the show. dougbillings.us, because after all and for always, we are in this together, ladies and gentlemen. Believe it. For the Republic. Cheers.
The Right Side with Doug Billings.